Once again, greetings and salutations. I appreciate you tuning back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in, all of that good stuff. You know, Brother Akiharo here, and I'm here to give you another glorious, splendiferous WWE No Mercy review 2017. You know, I'll tell you this from top to bottom, the matches themselves, you know what I'm saying? I'd probably say it was about maybe a 6 to 7 out of the 10. And I will go over and let you know why I came to that conclusion. So jumping right on into it, you know, of course, I got my handy dandy notebook right here. Pre-show started off with Elias Sampson versus Apollo Crews. I mean, what more can we say about that? As I've said time and time again, I'm a big fan of El Vagabundo. I'm a big fan of Elias Sampson. I love what he does on the mic. Like, really, I love what he does on the mic, singing-wise and whatnot. I mean, when was the last time we had a really, really good guitar-type guy in the WWE? I mean, of course, we had the original, the honky-tonk man, right? Jeff Jarrett, of course, Mr. Slapnuts himself, you know what I'm saying? GFW, all of that good stuff, you know? Well, at least not GFW anymore, you know what I'm saying? Because now that he stepped aside, they're going back to Impact. But that's another video for another day. So, yeah, I like Apollo Crews. It's a shame that he's stuck with this Titus catering thing. As I've said in my other video, I would love to see Apollo refreshing his character up, you know what I'm saying? WWE, let the guy go heel, please do something with him. But of course, fan response, what do you all at home think about Apollo Crews? You know what I'm saying? The guy's got good upside, the guy's got good potential, he's got a good look. I'm just kind of tired of seeing him like all the other people. They're just smiling and just happy to be here. Jason Jordan, we're talking to you, you know? So Elias Sampson goes over on him in about 7 minutes. Wham bam, thank you, officer. You know what I'm saying? We all knew Elias was going to go over on that. And he continues on his winning streak, you know. As well, he deserves it, you know. So now, the opening match for the show, of course, we've got Miz versus Jason Jordan. And of course, you know, Miz is accompanied with his entourage. You know what I'm saying? Right? And Miz goes over via the skull-crushing finale here after some distractions, of course, you know what I'm saying? But that's courtesy of Axel and Bo Dallas. But they weren't really doing too much until Jason Jordan, I hate to use this proverbial term, but, you know, he stirred up the hornet's nest. You know, he got those guys involved, and then Dallas and Axel, you know what I'm saying, they did what they did, and that caused him to get the distraction. Miz picked it up with the skull-crushing finale, you know, crushed him on up, and that was final. Next match we had right here, which was really, really, really bothered me, and we had Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt. Now, before Finn could even do what he had to do, before the bell even rang, Bray attacked him. Now, seriously, what is going on here with all of a sudden in the WWE now, everybody wants to attack before the bell, and then the ref's like, well, you know, you can beat him up before the bell, you know, it's whatever, you know what I'm saying? I didn't ring the bell, so it doesn't count. So, Bray attacked Finn before the bell, you know, and apparently he supposedly beat him up so badly that the doctors had to help him to the back, right? And it was through Bray Wyatt's goading Finn in that Finn came back. But one of the things I was thinking about was like, I mean, this was a guy who last year at SummerSlam, he separated his shoulder and then popped it back into place and kept on wrestling the rest of the match with Seth Rollins. So I know Finn Balor is a tough dude. You know what I'm saying? So Bray attacking him before the match is not going to justify Finn needing to go to the back. But anyway, Finn goes to the back. Well, almost to the back. Bray goes him in. He comes back down to the match. Ring the bell. Match starts. It's pretty much Bray dominating him throughout. It's typical heel babyface scenario here. You know, you've got the heel working the match. You know, he's doing what he's got to do. He's drawing in the heat from the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Doing his spider walk. You know, all the stuff that Bray Wyatt normally does. You know, up until the last minute, Finn Balor hits the coup de grace and then wins. You know, so it kind of looked like Finn Balor was getting, but the setup was he got attacked before the match, so at least it actually made sense. You know, like, okay, so Finn Balor isn't doing as good as he would normally do, and Bray Wyatt was kind of mopping the floor with him, so to speak, you know, but that was because he, like a coward, and that coward being Bray Wyatt, attacked him before the match. And Bray, as I've said in many of my other videos, the guy, he's got the good promo, he's got the good look, he's got the good ring presence, you know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't saying he's a good wrestler, but, I mean, he could be like a Bruiser Brody smash mouth in your face kind of guy, and I'm totally okay with that. Not everybody has to be a technical Ring of Honor general. Totally fine with some people on there that are just bar brawling, you know, just smash mouth in your face. And Bray Wyatt brings the smash mouth in your faceness. It's too bad that they won't let the guy do any more with that. I mean, we had him the one-time champion, then he had to give that up to freaking Randy Orton on, and then they moved him here. I mean, man, Bray. There's a lot of upside in this character. I want to see them do more with Bray Wyatt. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Finn Balor goes over on Bray Wyatt after, I believe, about maybe 8 minutes or 9 minutes, if that, you know. So now we got an awesome Asuka vignette, you know, letting you know that she's coming at tables, ladders, and chairs, which I'm really, really, really excited about. I can't wait to see my girl Asuka, the Empress of Tomorrow, show up and just lay waste to all of these girls except for my precious Nia Jax. Even though I know that's going to happen anyway. I'm sorry, Nia. I mean, you about to get the business courtesy of Asuka, you know. The Queen of Strong Style, yeah! Oh man, we got Robot Charlie backstage with Sheamus and Cesaro, and every time I see this girl, I'm like, here's a girl right here, she's so pretty, I'm pretty sure where she came from, she probably excelled at it, so nobody's narking Charlie, right? But when I see her there, I mean, like, the robotic half-ass smile, it's like, she's just not genuinely good at her job, she's not good at engaging the guest, you know what I'm saying? She's not good at asking actual, genuinely good questions, like, say, Renee is good at, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't dare compare her to, like, a Mean Gene Okerlund or anybody along those lines, you know, but it's less like between her and Dasha, you know, it's just a battle of who can appear to look the prettiest on screen while not actually offering any substance. That's what I'm saying right there. So up next now we got Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, you know, and then of course, you know, versus Cesaro and Sheamus. But first of all, in here, I do want to note that these guys have been together for about 2 months, right? And they are purposely making them come out separately, which is also another reason why I see what Sheamus Cesaro was going here. Like, he's like, these guys ain't a real team, right? You know what I'm saying? They're selfish, they're not really friends. When the going gets tough, you know, their friendship is going to get going, you know, all of that typical stuff. And it kind of makes sense, you know, they come out with the separate entrances, even if they can't use the shieldness because Roman Reigns is using it. And I don't know how he can just take a hold of that. We have the actual 2/3 of the Shield are freaking tag team champions, and they can't even have their look, their music, and their entrance because Roman Reigns has it. Now, how long? No, seriously, WWE. I mean, if you're listening, if anybody else is listening, ask yourself this question: how long would Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose allow to be the tag team champions before we go, let's just say hypothetically, we're like, it's been 6 months now. These guys have been together. They've been friends and stuff. How come they don't come out together as an actual team? Why are they the only team that comes out separate? Where's their music at? You know, and we know they have music. We know they have an entrance and all of that stuff. It's just sad to see Roman Reigns holding hostage. Fine, Roman is the man. You're going to shove him down my throat, Vince, and you're like, there's nothing you can do about it. You're going to like it. You're going to eat it. You're going to eat it, and then eventually I'm going to like it. Fine. Can you change up the guy just a little bit, for crying out loud? Can you make Roman Reigns just a little different? Even if you don't change up his attitude, for crying out loud. He's never changed since he showed up. Same music, same clothes, same ring attire, same moves. Nothing about this guy is the way everybody claims backstage. Like, oh, you know, Roman Reigns is this. You know, Roman Reigns is that. We speak so highly of him. Well, show us this in the ring, Roman. Show us why people backstage are speaking of you so highly. Show us why Vince is so vehemently, so adamant about shoving you down our throat. Help us understand why we should like you so much, because based on the performance that you give on TV, I don't see that. You know, now if I'm one of these younger kids, or if I'm, say, the country of India and I'm still living in kayfabe, then of course Roman Reigns seems like the greatest because you book him to be the greatest, not because he genuinely is, right? It's because you book him to be that way. You know what I mean? You could book Hornswoggle to be that way. You know what I mean? But you could book anyone to be that way. So just based on booking does not show me that Roman Reigns is great. I want to see more what he has. Show me some character. Show me some life. Show me some poise. You know what I'm saying? Like, show me something more than believe that, baby girl. That's all I'm asking for, Roman. Because as of right now, you're still the same guy with the same SWAT attire coming out to the Shield music to a group that doesn't exist anymore. Or a group that does exist, but you have to act like you can't interact with for reasons unknown, right? Because that's in the WWE. WWE, the way they write their shows, right? Let's say, for example, how Roman Reigns could interact with the Shield, but they won't, and they'll just keep them away, right? Is like the equivalent of when I would read comics. And then you'd have things like, you know, X-Men is in New York, right? Avengers Mansion is in New York, right? Fantastic Four, New York. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the X-Mansion, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, you know, Spider-Man, New York, Daredevil, Defenders, New York. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I can name you about 5 to 6 different groups of superheroes that exist in New York at one time, right? But in all of these movies, you'll never see any of them cross paths. You'll never see the Avengers, anything to do with X-Men. And this is where it doesn't make sense. You got worlds colliding, the planet's about to get blown up, but you only see the Avengers. But conveniently, the X-Men is gone, but conveniently, all these other people that exist within the same area are nowhere to be found. And that's how I feel about this. You know, where's Roman? Where's the Shield? Why are we acting like they can't interact? You know what I'm saying? And of course, on Monday Night Raw, maybe they will do something about that, because I didn't see Monday Night Raw. Of course, I'm doing this review before that. You know what I'm saying? But maybe they will talk about that. But as of right now, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh my goodness, there's all this craziness going on. But these people who know each other, who interact and are supposedly good guys, they can't have anything to do with them. You know, but like I said, hopefully Monday Night Raw will address that situation. But Sheamus and Cesaro come out. I love those guys. Once again, you know, I love the Dragon Ball Z fusion thing, as evident by my Dragon Ball Z large ass Vegito action figure here. Yeah, big Sheamus and Cesaro fan. And these guys gave us a stellar match. We're talking about at least 10-15 minutes worth of overcompensatingness. These guys were giving it all. Like, I don't know. Somebody had a pep talk with them, and they was just like, man, you know what? If you don't deliver, you're fired. I'm telling you, match of the night. Not just because Cesaro lost his freaking front. Look. Crack up. Cesaro lost all his. He smashed his face in. I cringed. Look, I'm a man. I ain't got no problem saying that. You know what I mean? But seeing a guy smash his teeth in on top of a metal post and then just knock him in, and knowing the excruciating pain. I've had some teeth pain and all of that. Who hasn't had an abscess or a tooth pain or a toothache? Now imagine 4 of those getting knocked out, or it was 3 or 4. I'm not even sure how many it was, but it was enough that his whole row was jacked up. It was crazy, and he still continued the match there. We're talking about Cesaro did a power bomb of Seth Rollins onto Dean Ambrose. You know, I mean, like, this was a good physical match. We talking about guys getting back body dropped to the outside, like extra flying all over the place, just putting extra oomph into it. Like, they went out there and gave their all. Like, I'm wondering, Cesaro, when he jumped into that, now we know from that slingshot, okay, because that's what it was that caused him to jump into it. You know what I'm saying? He got delivered a slingshot. Excuse me. He was the recipient of a slingshot, and then he hit the top post. Like, Cesaro to jump that much, because we know the slingshot doesn't really do that. You make it look like that, and then the opponent jumps. You know what I'm saying? Like, did he not know what he was jumping into? Because look at this. We know people may razor blade. I don't know if they still do that kind of stuff. You know, blading, hurting themselves. Even Alexa Bliss is, you know, she's popping her arm out the socket. But honestly, I know Cesaro did not intentionally mean to jump with so much force into a metal turnbuckle piece that he shattered his whole front piece. Like, he shattered his whole grill piece up in the front. Like, ain't even an exaggeration. Like, they just bludgeoned his front tooth and left his canine incisors. There we go. His 2 front teeth and his incisors, they look like his upper incisors. Look like they may have gotten effaced, taken away. You know what I'm saying? That was a good match. Dean pins Sheamus with the dirty deeds after the real kicker here is that Sheamus accidentally kicked Cesaro in the face. They had a hiccup for like one of the first times ever. You know what I'm saying? And Dean and Seth capitalized on that. But throughout the most of the match, like the typical formula that you will see here throughout the night, the people who won their matches did not win their matches decisively. Everybody was getting beat up. Like, okay, say like the Miz. Miz was getting beat up by Jason Jordan. Got the distraction. You know, Miz wins. You know what I'm saying? Even with even with the second match. You know what I'm saying? Finn Balor. Bray Wyatt was beating him up majority of the match. Finn Balor wins. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like all of the winners, that tonight's theme was that the winners weren't really winners. Because for me, and I'm being honest here, if I'm in a fight, okay, I understand that whoever wins the fight wins the fight. But if I'm beating you up for 19 minutes, and for 30 seconds you catch me with 2 punches and then the match is over, it could be possible that people could consider that a fluke. They could be like, oh, well, you didn't really win the match. You caught him with 2 punches and then you won from there. So that's pretty much how these matches to me felt throughout the night. Except for, of course, the Fatal 5-Way, because, obviously, freaking Fatal 5-Way, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of that, that is up next. Out first, we got the ever so huggable one. We got everybody's favorite Bayley, and not so much everybody's favorite. Look, I like Bayley because I'm a fan of Bayley. It does not mean that I like the direction and where they're going with her character. This girl down in NXT was light years, leagues above who she is now, and it just kind of makes you wonder, like, what happens with in NXT up to here. Is it so much that they can't translate from NXT to the main roster, or is it so much that the writing down there is maybe a little bit more different? Because from what I have observed from NXT versus to the main roster, it seems like there's a little bit more character flexibility, a little bit more you can say here, a little bit more you can do here. Once you go up to that main roster, things within your character might change. Like as I've said before, NXT is you dropping your first CD, independent. Put whatever you want on that CD. Do whatever you want. And that's how we get the fan base, right? Everybody's like, Kanye West. Oh, I love Kanye West. Kanye West. He's all about Jesus. He's all about Jesus. Jesus walks. Then his next CDs that come out after that are so corporate. He's so full of this. He just changes up on you. So that's what I feel like NXT is like, the independents. You go up to SmackDown or Raw, you're basically getting signed to a large music label, to where they could go, no differently than WWE can go, hey, you know what? We don't like your character and who you are, and we see that people out here are fans of you, but we personally don't like it, so we're going to change you into this, and you're contractually obligated to do as we please with your character. Yeah. Sony, BGM, Columbia House, all of them. That's pretty much how it is, And NXT, these people, they come over from the NXT, and a lot of them, they don't translate over, and I'm just wondering if they have to change up their self and their character so much to fit with, the corporate atmosphere from SmackDown and Raw now being televised on the USA Network, to where you have to fit into certain parameters. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes you wonder here. And Bayley was definitely one of those people, you know what I'm saying? They basically killed her character. I want to see this girl build up, because if you don't say nothing about Bayley, Bayley has the potential to sell more merchandise than anybody out there. She's the female version of John Cena. She could be a female John Cena for the kids. Her and Dakota Kai, you put them together, that equals money. Look, it's just money. That's best for business, Vince McMahon. That's best for business, Triple H. Now, I got a feeling that Triple H already knows that. You know what I'm saying? So we really got to take this more so up with Vince McMahon than anything else. You know what I'm saying? So we got Emma coming on out here, one of my favorite Australian girls. I do like Emma. I'm a really big fan of her, and it's nice to see her step back into the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? But after I get through this, I'll talk about something here that I did notice. Then we got my favorite Nia Jax, who I wanted to win. As I've said in my previous video, where I did not predict Nia to win. I mean, I predicted her to win because I wanted her to win, me personally, but I knew she wasn't going to win. So let me say that. I was like, yes, of course I predict her to win. But I knew she wasn't going to win. That's because I want her to win. You know what I'm saying? So then we got Sasha Banks out there, and then of course, the champion coming on out, Alexa Bliss, who was trying to make herself look extra Harley Quinn. You know what I'm saying? She was trying to look extra Suicide Squad-y, okay? You know what I'm saying? But that was a really good, and I wanted it to be like this. They gave these girls a good amount of time to go out there, and I noticed every girl got a chance to get some of their shtick in there. Emma was doing great. There was a couple of times where I was like, oh man, I thought Emma was put in here to deliver to get pinned and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? There was a couple of times where I actually thought Emma might actually pull this off, and I was like, holy crap, they're gonna pull the gun on Emma. But then Nia was just killing it out there, you know what I'm saying? Just running through everybody until they did this spot where Emma was like, I'm about to powerbomb you, and I'm like, no, you're not about to powerbomb Nia. Bayley comes over to try to help her, and I'm like, y'all still ain't gonna powerbomb Nia. Nia is on the top of the apron from the outside, so on the hardest part of the apron, holding on to the ropes. They're trying to powerbomb her from the outside on down to the bottom onto the mat. You know what I'm saying? And so they almost got her. Bayley and Emma are onto the bottom trying to get her. You know what I'm saying? Sasha and and Alexa come running over there, drop kick Nia into the gut. She falls backwards from the top of the rope on down. Bam! Takes that power bomb hard. All 272 pounds of her took that power bomb. Although maybe she's 272. She looks like she could be a little bit small. She looks a little bit smaller than she was. So I don't know if they're just billing her 272. She might be 250. Who knows? But the big girl, my precious Nia Jax, she took that fucking power bomb from the top, and it looked like her knee came in, buckled and knocked her into the head here. I actually thought she was hurt. I was like, okay, so she's out of this, you know what I'm saying? For a good while, you know what I'm saying? She was out of it, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, that led to Alexa Bliss winning because, well, she was at the right place at the right time, and she won over Bayley. And I'm trying to think of how many people have actually won a fatal 5-way. You know what I'm saying? Not a triple threat, you know what I'm saying? A fatal 4-way, but a freaking fatal 5-way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So Alexa might be one of a handful. I'm not gonna say the first. She might be one of a handful of people in the company to win a fatal 5-way. You know what I'm saying? And not an elimination like an extreme, like elimination chamber, because that's possible to win. The odds are not against you, because you know if you were like in that kind of elimination match, you could just hide out and then just wait to be the last person. You know what I'm saying? So elimination matches don't count. You've got really good odds of winning a 5 match if it's elimination style. But when you do a fatal 5-way where it's just one pin and you could be the champion all the way over here and get pinned and not even have nothing to do with it, like, you know what I'm saying? So like, no. I was very, very happy about that because I actually do like Alexa Bliss, and I'm like, why don't they just let her hold on to it until Asuka comes on up here, and then Asuka will beat the crap out of her and then save us all. Empress of Tomorrow for the win. I can't wait. TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs. Yeah, Asuka's gonna be there. Oh man, oh man, oh man. So then after that match, you know what I'm saying? After that, you know, Alexa claims that she's the freaking true goddess. How can I forget that? You know what I'm saying? She's like, I'm the one true goddess, and nobody can step up to me, and nobody's better than me, yada yada yada. And that's how I was like, that's just the perfect setup for Asuka. You know what I'm saying? And up next, you know, we got Roman Reigns versus John Cena. I mean, more of people trying to pass the torch to Roman Reigns so that we at home can see, hey, these people backstage like us. Okay, now let's just say I was sitting there in front of the WWE office and I was talking to him about this. Like, look, WWE, I understand that this is your show, and you know, all we can do is have an opinion, but ultimately you make the rules here. And I get that you're trying to let us know these people backstage think Roman Reigns is so important that they're willing to pass the proverbial torch to him, or as John Cena said after the talk in Raw, you know, grab the torch from him and whatnot. Okay, fine and dandy, but why is Roman Reigns so damn boring of a character? If you're not a woman who gets wet in the panties, and here's the thing, there's a lot of girls that watch wrestling now. I know a lot of guys who watch wrestling, okay? And I'm going to put this point out here, and this is 2017, how standards have changed. So listen up to this, okay? I know a lot of guys watch wrestling like myself, and we watch wrestling for the wrestling. Now we got girls in there, fine. You know, I look at a Sasha, she looks good. I look at a Nia, she looks good. But I'm not watching it specifically for them. We don't get guys watching wrestling specifically for women. I know of a lot of girls, you know what I'm saying? I've got a lot of girl family members, you know what I'm saying, that including my great aunt is a super wrestling fan. She's been into it since the WWF days, since the the NWA days. Back with the territory, she used to tell me how she would go and she's got pictures of freaking Ric Flair and whatnot from back in the day. So I have a family of women wrestlers, and I've got a lot of the newer generation ones, like the younger ones, right, who are like, they only watch wrestling to see like Finn Balor, you know what I'm saying, to see Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. And they're just like, why do you watch wrestling? Because it's a bunch of hot, half-naked guys. And I'm like, that is it. See, I'm not used to that. Like, obviously, when men are watching sports, we're not watching sports for half-naked dudes. I mean, unless you're talking about some gay guys. But we ain't talking about that. But you know, for straight men, we're watching the sports to see the players, right? You know, to see the action going down. So now we coming in and we've got women wrestling fans, and you heard this one girl's like, woo, Roman Reigns, they're going crazy. I'm like, Roman Reigns possesses a sex appeal or whatnot. Oh, okay. And those are mainly some of the people. I get on the Reddit, I go on the forums, and I love to read up on different people's opinions on the product and what they think about it. And like I said, if you're not a lady or a kid in India, or pretty much all of kayfabbing India, the country, you know what I'm saying? The rest of the real people, they don't like Roman. And I would tell him this to his face. And like I said, I haven't been rude or anything. I haven't said anything that I couldn't back up with verifiable facts. Roman, you have kept the same theme music since you first started. The same attitude, the same ring attire. Nothing about you has changed. Nothing about you comes through on TV as the person that all these people backstage convey you out to be. I want to see that person that everybody is like, oh, I'm The Rock and I'll endorse him. I'm John Cena, I'll endorse him. I'm Kurt Angle, I'll endorse him. I'm freaking Brock Lesnar and I'll endorse him in the future and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to see this. What the hell is going on with Roman? I don't see it other than the pretty looks. You know what I'm saying? I honestly don't see it. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, he's not bad. You know, there's room to grow. It's just that they want us to be accepting of him so fast, and we're like, give us time to breathe with Roman. Can we see him have some character progression? Where's Roman's character progression? All those people that WWE doesn't want to push that we want, say like Daniel Bryan's and your Sami Zayn's and your Baileys and all of those people, they had what was known as character progression. You saw them, you wanted to cheer for them. If you want us to like Roman Reigns, why don't you try to take the time to actually build him into a way that we will actually like? WWE, this is 2017. This is not rocket science. There's actual mathematical formulas and stuff that you can use out there for people because they're just so freaking predictable and whatnot. We know this, you know what I'm saying? So if you wanted Roman Reigns to get over, there are certain things that you can do in the world of wrestling no differently than you made Jinder Mahal go out there and do racist promos to generate heat, because there's stuff you can always do to get a reaction, right? So couldn't there be things you could always do to Roman Reigns to make it so that even the diehard fans of the company would like him? I mean, even the smarks, as you would say, or the marks would like him. So I don't see them putting thought and effort into Roman's character other than just if we put him out there enough because he has a good look, eventually people will come over to him. And that's not how it is. I mean, if you're a kid or something, or if you're getting moist in the pants, then sure, you'll come over. You know, and I wanted to like the guy. I do. You know, he's a Gemini just like me. It's like Seth Rollins. You know, it's like Bray Wyatt. You know, just like Natalya, just like Nia Jax. You know, I want all of those Geminis in there to succeed, because I want to believe that that Gemini, being Roman Reigns, actually has a good mouthpiece on him, that he can communicate, that he'll actually, maybe not to the level of Rock and John Cena, but he might be able to actually surprise us. So I want to see where they go with his character. But his character, not him winning matches, because him beating The Undertaker didn't do anything. Didn't change up his attitude or anything. Him beating up on John Cena and Brock Lesnar didn't change up his attitude or do anything. He's still the same cocky dude out there. Sounds the same, looks the same, all of that. You know, and that's the Roman Reigns complex that I have. And John Cena pretty much did 4 or 5 AAs into this match, just the way that I predicted, and we all knew it was a match to put over Roman. And it was a 20-minute match, but it was only 20 minutes because they methodically slowed down the pace to make it seem more than what it was. And those are the kind of things that you learn if you go to like wrestling schools, or if you want to pick up on this trade, or if you study it much. You learn pacing, match dictation, and whatnot. You know, and that was a little bit everywhere. Why? Because Roman Reigns, in order to dance, needs a really good dance partner. Same thing with John Cena. John Cena is going to go out there and dance. He needs a good dance partner. These are not AJ Styles, so to speak, to where they could have a 5-star match with a broom, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? That's not how these guys are. You know, so the match was very, very slow. It was a little clunky at first. You know what I'm saying? It took a while to find its stride. You know what I'm saying? Before it hit its moment, and Roman Reigns was pretty much, you know, not selling anything John Cena was doing, which was freaking crazy here. You know what I'm saying? All of this, they got to make up their mind. 1 minute moves work, then another minute moves don't work, and then 1 minute one guy's selling the AA, then another moment, then one guy can't kick out of the one AA, but then the next moment the guy can kick out of 5 AAs. Like, it's just very, very, very confusing at times with finishers, and you know what I'm saying, and what's going on with the finisher and all of that. But anyway, of course, Roman Reigns goes over, on freaking John Cena after about 22 minutes. And then after that, John Cena did his best to sit there and look confused and, you know, play it up. And he said on a Talking Raw, he felt this way and he felt that way. And that we'll just all one day see why we like Roman so much. How about you tell Roman to show us why everybody likes him so much? Show us some of that charisma and personality that does not translate through onto Monday Night Raw. And if this isn't Roman, and if Roman, say for example, some odd reason Roman hears this and is like, man, this isn't me, this is Vince, talk to Vince. Well, whoever is in charge of the guy backstage, let him go on out there and let's see what he can freaking do. Because you having him beat everybody is not making us like him. I mean, you can have unbeatable people out there, doesn't mean we have to like him. Take, for example, Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather could be considered like that. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. All these boxers that put him over, he's this, he's that, Floyd Mayweather. How many people don't like Floyd Mayweather? I respect the guy. He makes a ton of money. He does what he has to do, right? Do people like Floyd Mayweather? He's winning. He's been winning for the longest. Take Roman Reigns. He's winning. He's been winning for the longest. People talk about this. They talk, people backstage talk about this. They talk about that. How do we, the fans, feel about him? Do we like him? Nope. How do we, as the fans, feel about Floyd Mayweather? Do we like him? No. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Then after that, we had Neville versus Enzo freaking Amore. And what I thought was going to be, I was like, look, let's just have Neville going out there. You know, he's going to beat Enzo. You know, he's going to do what he's got to do because this is freaking Neville. You know, he should be holding that Cruiserweight champion. He is the man. Look, tell you what, Enzo, let him keep the Cruiserweight. If he keeps his Cruiserweight and Neville leaves the Cruiserweight division, because I've said it, Neville is only, what, an inch shorter than Finn Balor? And he's about 180, 190. You see Neville is cut up. I dare say Neville is about 200 pounds. That's a solid, swole dude. Same thing with Finn Balor. So if Finn Balor is on the Raw roster, first Universal Champion, why couldn't Neville aspire to do the same thing? He had an awesome match for the United States title against John Cena, and with John Cena for that like I'm saying, for that open challenge. You know, and that was pretty good. So Neville has already shown us before they even did this Cruiserweight division that he's capable of going against world-class athletes that are bigger than him or not. And also another thing this Cruiserweight division is doing, you know what I'm saying, it's limiting a lot of these guys like Cedric Alexander, you know, who was 245 pounds before he joined the Cruiserweight, or 235, 245. That Cedric Alexander's a big boy, you know, and he lost all that weight to join the Cruiserweight. So these dudes are so good. They don't even need, they don't need to be labeled to that or stigmatized to that. And if you want to put them in the Cruiserweight, fine. Take away the weight limit. A la the X division with Samoa Joe. Ask Samoa Joe about that. The X division in TNA, and then he was a freaking basically the equivalent of a Cruiserweight, you know, because they took away that the weight thing there, you know. So that would work with me. That's totally fine with me. I'd be perfectly okay with that if they took away that weight limit thing, you know. So anyway, it was a great match. Neville was doing what he had to do. At one point, he was going up to the top like he was about to do a Red Arrow. Then he was like, nah, I'm just gonna do a Phoenix Splash. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't even worth a Red Arrow, you know. And Enzo capitalizes on that, you know what I'm saying? But take a long story short, out of a match that just was just not even right, Enzo wins with a freaking low blow. But here's the part that I don't get, and I know my rule book because I've done the wrestling schools and all that. I want to be a referee. I still want to referee, still want to commentate. You know what I'm saying? Ring announce, backstage announce, all of that stuff. So I have a lot of the rule book in my freaking head here. Now, the ref was doing the 10 count for Neville. You know what I'm saying? Because Enzo was out there, right? So he gets up to 9. All Enzo does is pick up the Cruiserweight belt. So rather than going 10, the ref stops counting. And it starts focusing on Neville, who's upset. But that's actually not the case. You don't stop your count to unbreak the count unless the gentleman gets out of there. So he would have kept counting. So even if he picked up the belt, so that's like if he picks up a chair outside. The ref doesn't stop counting because he picks up the chair. The chair only becomes a problem once that chair is brought into the ring. You know what I'm saying? Then it becomes a weapon. You can touch all the stuff you want on the outside. You know what I'm saying? You can't bring it in. And especially it wouldn't be an issue because it's not like the opponent was, it's not like Neville and Enzo were outside. So let's just say, for example, he picked up the cruiserweight. The ref might have to be concerned because, well, Enzo might hit Neville with the cruiserweight title. So the ref had legitimately no reason per the rule book to actually go, I'm going to get up to 8, then 9. And then I'm going to see Enzo pick up the belt. And I'm going to be like, no, I'm going to stop counting. Because Neville is upset that Enzo is touching his belt. Instead of just going 10, the match is over. Now just give Enzo back, now just give Neville back his belt. They do stuff like that and it makes entirely no freaking sense per their own storyline continuity. Damn, WWE. All we're sitting here pointing out is that you don't follow your own rules and regulations. So you don't even, like, you may have other people out there that are angry at the product. They say fuck this, they say fuck that, hate. That is not me, man. I like to work within the confines of a story. You know what I'm saying? As a person who went to school for computer art and animation, storyboard designing, and I wrote all kinds of creative stories and stuff, I like seeing things flow. I like seeing continuity. I like knowing that there are rules. Like, 4 laws of thermodynamics, you know, the laws of physics, you know, that cannot be violated, like energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if we were walking through reality and we just saw things happen that weren't there, we kind of would stop and question it. But only in the WWE can they not follow their own rules, and we are not allowed to question it. They'll call you a smark. They'll call you a mark for questioning the product. But does WWE not know how the fans work? Have they never seen people try to digest the Game of Thrones? I've never watched Game of Thrones, but I've heard people digesting it and talking about it. Game of Thrones, whether it be Sex and the City, whether it be comic books, Marvel, DC, or whether it be the freaking sports behind me. People, when they like stuff, they'll take the time to digest it, to understand it, to make sense out of it, because it's what they like. So WWE, you'd have to understand here that, like how you're saying, well, these is kids and stuff. Well, I started out as one of those kids and grew up into an actual wrestling fan and a person who wanted to pursue that. So who's to say that the rest of your crowd isn't going to do that? And who's to say that your crowd doesn't have older brothers or fathers or sisters or mothers who watch the product and can explain to their children, hey, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Because I look at the viewership is going down and it's steadily going down. So why would it be dropping? So I have to think to myself, well, what are the reasons why? If I have children, I'm going to watch the wrestling with them. So imagine me talking to my kids and explaining to them, and these kids being raised with the kind of mentality that I have to know the rule book and stuff. They'll be looking at it going, this seems awfully problematic as well. We're getting a lot of people that are doing it. These supposedly so-called fair weather fans, they actually have a lot of real fans as friends who can explain to them the show and can help them along. So what happens when those fair weather fans are no longer fair weather? They're now educated fans. You know, they're not casuals no more. They want to continue to tune into the product on a regular basis. Well, you've now just alienated those people because you're now treating them like they're stupid. You're treating them like they won't know that Naomi was stripped of the title after 30 days, but Brock Lesnar has never given a reason for why he can go 30 days after defending it. They'll know that, hey, AJ Styles was supposed to get a freaking return title match. Isn't that why he went to WrestleMania to fight Shane McMahon? Because nobody would give him his opportunity to fight for his title again. And then after he won the match, it was just dropped. And now he's fighting for the United States title when he actually is legitimately deserved a #1 contender title match that Shane McMahon actually admitted he was right about on the show. So more and more fans are getting hip to this. They're not dummies. WWE, you can be casual. That's understandable. You can be like, oh yeah, they're casual kids. They're casual kids living in 2017 with access to what? WWE social media accounts. They're not stupid kids living under a rock that are just going to be like, I'm going to say my prayers, take my vitamins, and eat my vegetables. These kids are not like that. I mean, I would love it if people were wholesome, but children are all into this smut, they're all into this crap. Kids are growing up faster and faster than normal. Everybody's entering this hypersexual age and whatnot. You know, the internet is allowing the mindset to just move and grow along so much faster and faster and faster. And WWE is going to have to realize that because they're losing too many fans. So we got to start and look at the core of the issue. Why? Because you give us the same formulaicness. I made a pay-per-view prediction for these matches, and you can go and check my other video that was uploaded 20 hours ago before this. I got every single match on here correct. And the way that I'm talking to you all is how I talked in the previous video, where I was like, well, based on this formula that the WWE has always used, this person is going to win. So if X equals Y, then the outcome will always have to be this, based upon the previous situations and the previous variables that were entered. It was always going to give you the same freaking outcome. You know what I'm saying? And I was right, especially with the Braun Strowman Brock Lesnar situation that I'm about to go into right now. You know, Braun Strowman lost. How did I know? And I even said it, explained it on there, and I'll explain it again. I said, based upon WWE's formula that they've always used in the past, if you, as the person going into the match, right, as you as the challenger, right, fighting the champion, if you keep getting the better part of the champion from weeks and weeks, you know the build-up, right? From the weeks and weeks and weeks until we get to the no-home episode of the show, right? If you keep getting over on the champion, WWE's rules and booking says that you will typically lose on that pay-per-view. The champion, you will get your comeuppance. The champion will win. And I used that formula and got every single match right. I predicted every single one. And that's why I even said with the Nia Jax situation, I was like, I wanted her to win, but I knew she wasn't going to win, okay? I wanted her to win, but I knew she wasn't going to. You know what I'm saying? Now, the Neville one, I did not, I said I could see them going with Enzo because of the popularity. I clearly did not know Enzo was going to win by disqualification or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So I made sure that I put there on the differences between who I wanted to win versus who are they going to book to win. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what this was. And I like Brock. I've been a big fan of Brock. And I'm a real guy wrestler. So, you know, as WWE would say, the marks and the smarts, the real men would typically like the Brock Lesnar because of, you know, what he brings. Paul Heyman has said that. So I don't have a problem with him. What I do have a problem with is that Brock, in these matches, he basically got beat up for 90% of the match. Then he beat Braun Strowman with one F5. Okay, check this out now. Okay, so I see what you're doing, WWE, and I'm writing it down here so I can come back and then have this as proof. WWE seems like they're building that F5. Definitely pay attention. I'm telling you here, like I said, you're going to write this down. I got to get back to my train of thought there. Okay. That F5, no one has kicked out of it in quite some time. So we got to ask ourselves, why is that? You know what I'm saying? I thought Samoa Joe would have been able to kick out of one. Okay. I thought maybe Braun Strowman would have kicked out of one. So now, WWE, I'm not really sure what they're doing here with this, because Undertaker, okay, Goldberg, John Cena, right, even Roman Reigns, have all been people who can kick out of an F5. All right? How is it that Braun Strowman, through the whole match, is not selling suplexes? He goes through there, he takes two suplexes, he's getting up after him. Then after that, you know, Brock starts putting on the 6 suplexes. Then one F5, and that's it. Like, Brock's matches are becoming so lazy that all it's taking is for one F5. And we're not talking about like, okay, Brock came in there healthy and he hit you with an F5 and then he just devastated you because he was with Brock and he was fresh. We talking about, this will be a tired Brock, battle worn down Brock, one F5 and that's that. His matches are terrible. It's like they're making it so obvious. Like, yeah, you're right, Akeem, and here's how we're going to book him. We're going to make it that nobody can kick out of the F5 until the mighty Roman Reigns comes along. Like, by God, how much do we need from this Roman Reigns type person here? And like I said, this is months in advance, WWE. You know, so when this happens, I can be able to go back and look at it, timestamped and all of that stuff, and be like, yeah, this is where I talked about how apparently nobody is going to be allowed to kick out of the F5 anymore up until WrestleMania, and then it's going to be Roman Reigns. And that ain't me having to listen to other people or none of that. That's me using my brain here and looking at what's going on, and yet I'm seriously asking myself, now all of a sudden nobody can kick out of an F5. It's not like the F5 was unkick-outable from its immediate conception. There have been people who have kicked out of it. Like I mentioned, John Cena, of all people, has kicked out of it. Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, You know what I'm saying? Goldberg, okay? They have kicked out of it. So you telling me that Braun Strowman couldn't kick out of one? How he couldn't? That doesn't make no sense whatsoever. Anyway, that's the only takeaway that I saw from that match. And another point too, Braun was touching the rope, and I could see by the way the shadow was, and the referee still had the hold going on there. And I'm looking at it like, ref, aren't you supposed to break the hold if Braun is to the rope, touching the rope, underneath the rope, and all of that good stuff? So I mean, there were parts of the match to where I mean it was a good physical match for what it was, but when I saw how long we had left for the match to start, I knew, okay, well, this wasn't going to be no 10-minute match. It would probably be maybe 8 to 9 minutes at the most, because that's how much of the show, and then based on, and it's true, you know what I'm saying, with the show getting ready to go off, and then what time it started. But it would be really nice to see Brock Lesnar have one of his old school style matches to where it's not like he's phoning it in. And I don't mean to say that on that level, so if you would ever be listening, please understand what I mean by that, Brock. You've probably worked up to the level to where you can phone it in. It's okay. But what I'm saying is, I can definitely see that this is not the same oomph from you, because it doesn't need to be the same oomph from you. That Brock Lesnar was a lot different from back in the day. That was a Brock Lesnar that was hungry. That was a Brock Lesnar to prove that, you know what I'm saying, forget the Minnesota Vikings, you know what I'm saying, I could do better without them. I'm going to go into the UFC. I'm going to show everybody. So that was a lean, hungry Brock Lesnar. And what we have right now is, Brock Lesnar is eating good. And I can feel the energy emanating off of him, that this is a paycheck. I will collect it and go home. There's nothing wrong with that. He's worked to get to that point. But when you're out there and you're exuding, thinking about other things other than a match, and one for the first times, I was shocked with Brock. Like, that's what made me like him so much, was like he used to always have like this one track mind, kill, kill, kill. Now, as of lately, when Brock is in the ring, he doesn't have a kill, kill, kill mentality. And he probably doesn't. And of course, we're not going to hear Brock talk about it the way John Cena said it. Like, as I get older, my body gets a little bit tired and I can't operate at an elite level as much as I can anymore. So we won't hear Brock say that. But we are noticing, whether we look at the shape that he's in, or whether we look at how he's being involved in these matches, Brock is getting his ass whooped throughout most of his matches. Samoa Joe, right? You know what I'm saying? Even the Roman Reigns one, and then the up until now, the Strowman one, and then somehow he pulls the John Cena and then magically wins with one move. Nobody kicks out of it. There's no resistance to it. And it still makes you think, Braun, you have been built up amazingly. You've been one of the best built people that we have seen in quite some time. Okay, and yet you cannot get up out of one F5 to a 6'8", 385-pound person. And I'm supposed to believe that a legitimate strongman, I mean a real deal Mark Henry pulling trucks type strongman, could not kick out of an F5 that was delivered to him by a tired, worn down man. See what I'm saying here? This is where their continuity and their storyline, their creativeness, it doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, well, we got to have Brock win here, and we want it to be a nice showing for Braun and Brock. It's like, well, why can't they just have like a knockdown, drag-out, 15-minute match? When I did the math yesterday, I was like, okay, you're going to have a 3-hour show. You know what I'm saying? You got 8 matches on the card. If there were 20 minutes apiece, you know what I'm saying? That's 160 minutes right there. Why couldn't these matches all be like 20 minutes apiece? They could have all been 20 minutes apiece, and you still would have had time on the show. So this Brock Lesnar match could have been at least 15 minutes or so worth of nice battling and this and that. And instead it was just a showcase, like, oh look, Braun is going to win for, let's just say if the match was 20 minutes, seems like the formula would have been, Braun's going to win for 18 minutes, then Braun in 2 minutes is going to beat him, he's going to hit one F5, then Brock is going to come back within 2 minutes, hit one F5, and that's that. So then you would say, well, what the hell was happening for the rest of the match? See, that's where it doesn't make sense. Like, for example, let's take WWE 2K17 or any of the WWE games from back in the day. If in the beginning of the match, right, let's just say you had a fresh guy, you have to wear down your guy before you would hit the finisher on him. And if you was to ever just somehow magically just got your finisher, right, and you hit the finisher on them, they would actually kick out because the person wasn't worn down, and it made sense, right? Like you just tried to hit me with your finisher in the beginning of the match. You know what I'm saying? It didn't make sense. So we got a worn down Brock Lesnar who basically hits his finisher on a fresh character who just started, and he just beat him just like that. No drama, no fuss. He just wins. At least the Kimura lock looked believable. If Brock would have beat him in the Kimura lock, I would have taken that. I'd been like, look, that's a real Kimura lock. Put on a dude's arm. Break that arm like a little chicken wing. I would have believed that. I'd been like, okay, beat him with a Kimura lock. That's some real dealness right there. Like a Coquina clutch, man. That's some real dealness. But he beat him with a freaking F5. Look, the F5 looks almost as bad as the attitude adjustment. I put you up on my shoulders in a fireman carry, and then I spin you around until you drop onto your face. It's not that devastating of a move. I get Brock Lesnar's doing it because he's Brock, right? But is the move per se devastating itself? Like, no. I wouldn't say it's devastating itself or anything like that. I would say a power bomb would obviously be more dangerous, picking you up and slamming you on the ground rather than I pick you up like this and then just swirl you and then you fall down with me. Like Brock doesn't throw you to the ground, he swirls you and then just falls backwards and you just fall with him, and then that's just devastating because it's Brock doing the move, not because the move is devastating itself. You know what I'm saying? So that running power slam actually seems like it would be more devastating because Braun Strowman is falling his weight onto you versus Brock Lesnar just throws you and then you just kind of fall down like we all fell down. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty much it from that. I mean, this No Mercy, I mean, trying to book the main events to be better than WWE, the freaking WrestleMania, and then they even said that. I mean, just WWE's priorities are so long gone. I'm thoroughly confused as to what their main goal is. I mean, is their bottom line to make money, or is it to drive away your fans, or excuse me, to drive away your core constituents while trying to bring in new people? They're like, well, let's alienate all the other people we have because I'm pretty sure they'll stick in, and we'll just keep changing up stuff to make our corporate sponsors happy and to bring in other fair weather people who probably won't stick around long enough to help us contribute to our ratings going up. It's terrible here. WWE, you're forgetting about the people who brought you to the dance. You know what I'm saying? Your core fans. Why don't you appeal to them? Appeal to the niche group. You know what I'm saying? You can do that. There is a whole ton of niche markets out there, and you can appeal just to hardcore wrestling fans who buy up all your shirts, your t-shirts, your merchandise. You know what I'm saying? We'll keep you going so that you don't have to scale back pyro. You know what I'm saying? So when Brock comes out there and he does his jump, you know what I'm saying? Pyro will go off. You know what I'm saying? So please, WWE, you know, hopefully Monday Night Raw, you know, they'll explain some of these shortcomings and whatnot that happened here. You know what I'm saying? But as far as No Mercy 2017, I'm just going to give it a 6.5, possibly a 7. But for the most part, that's going to be easily a 6.5. I would tell WWE to do better, but I highly doubt they're going to listen to me. But as a person who enjoys this, I'm going to always keep talking about it. I mean, this just gives me great pleasure being able to dissect the ins and outs of the wrestling, like to break it down, you know, being like the mad scientist, just looking at it and just being like, that's why they did this and that's why they did that, or wondering why they did this and did that. I mean, as of course, you know, it's opinion, it's speculation why they did or they didn't do something, you know what I'm saying? It's all conjecture, speculation, all that good stuff, you know. But once again, I thoroughly always enjoy doing this. Always enjoy talking about it. Man, I'll be doing a wrestling one tomorrow for all of that, for the WWE Raw. Then, of course, we're going to have the SmackDown one coming up. And then we're going to have the NXT one coming up. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's definitely stay tuned here. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely more to come and all of that good stuff. So I'll definitely see you all around tomorrow for the WWE Raw review. So until next time.